Hello and welcome to a brand new Kaspersky online stream, Unmasking Email Dangers, How to Detect and Defend Against Email Threats. As you may have guessed from the webinar title, today we are going to talk about all sorts of email threats, scam, phishing, malware attachments, and so on. My name is Sergey. I'm the product launch manager here at Kaspersky. Today, together here with me is Anna, spam analyst, and Alexander, senior product manager. So I wanted to say, guys, how are you? But then I realized that Anna is here today with us. So I should probably say, guys and ladies, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Hi, everyone.
And you?
Not bad, Sergey. Hello, everyone.
Perfect. So like I said a moment earlier, we're going to talk about all sorts of email threats that are especially relevant for today's businesses, from small companies to huge enterprises. We are going to share some key findings from our recent reports. We are going to share technologies we have that we use to fight and detect all sorts of threats. And most importantly of all, at the end, we're going to offer specific solutions that you as business owners or decision makers can use starting from today to mitigate all these risks. Of course, if you have any questions along the way, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you're watching the recording of this webinar after it has passed on YouTube, please feel free to leave the questions in the comment section on YouTube, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now, let's take a few steps back and talk about our research. Back in February this year, our content filtering research team released a brand new report called Spam and Phishing 2024 report. In their findings, they've analyzed and they basically put together and compiled all sorts of data related to threats last year, spam, phishing, and so on. We're going to elaborate on that a little bit later. There has been a number of worrying trends that they have highlighted, such as 26% increase in phishing attempts. And also what they found is that every second mail in the corporate mailboxes last year was basically a spam. So Anna, let's talk about these findings in detail. But before we do that, I'm sure a lot of our viewers would be interested of what you as a spam analyst handle on a regular basis. And what does the email threat protection group, which you are a part of, handles every day? What is your team, the team you're working in, responsible for?
So my duties are searching for suspicious messages in statistics, inspecting our clients' complaints, and based on the data and on the message features, take a decision whether to block the message. And we in Email Threats Protection Group defend our customers against harmful, insidious mailings and spam. And due to our work, we encounter a lot of really curious and interesting, sometimes complex email threats, and that is why we are going to talk about them today.
That's very interesting to hear. I'm sure that was very interesting for our viewers. But let's now go back to the reports. First of all, if you want to see the report in detail, it's available on the secure list. But given our time frame, let's perhaps just share the key findings from the 2024 reports with our viewers.
Let's refer to our statistics from our report. So in 2024, more than 197 million of spam messages in total were blocked by our anti-spam filter. Kaspersky Mail Antivirus blocked more than 125 attempts to open malicious email attachments. And the average share of spam in global email traffic was around 47% in the previous year.
Interesting. So, like I said before, there are a lot of other great findings in this report. Some of them we're going to share later today. But for the complete overview, please refer to the report. We're going to share the link in the description, so be sure to check it out after the stream. Now, there are a lot of threats to talk about today. And for cybersecurity enthusiasts, it may be hard to navigate through all of them. So for the purpose of this webinar, I think we're going to classify them by two categories, mass threats and targeted threats. Let's start with mass threats. So Anna, if you could perhaps, if you had to classify them in brief or maybe share some common description for mass threats, what would that be?
Yeah, sure. We classify spam in different categories. So first of all, what is spam? Spam is unsolicited messages that could contain email threats, and thus their recipients risk suffering financial losses, data losses, and reputational damage. Spam messages could also be harmless but still unwanted, such as, for example, intrusive advertising of goods and services. In this case, the recipient loses only his time sorting the messages out. That is why it's also essential for a company to have a security solution that will block such messages and save a lot of precious working time of its employees. Returning to email threats, they are divided into mass and targeted. So mass email threats are mostly scam, phishing, and malicious messages. Such emails are universal and intended to for any person or company who had the misfortune to get into fraudsters' mailing list. Targeted email threats, by definition, are aimed to certain organizations and hence could be more complicated.
It's interesting that you mentioned targeted threats. I think we should talk about them in detail because there are some differences comparing to mass threats and some important ones to note. But Alexander, let me talk with you for a moment. So Anna just described a brief overview of mass threats, but here at Kaspersky, we have a vast and comprehensive expertise. Our expertise is not just our research capabilities, it's much more. It is, of course, our products and technologies. So technologies, can we perhaps talk about them in detail, at least bring a sort of high-level overview of technologies we have here at Kaspersky that are used in our products to combat the threats Anna just mentioned?
Yes, Sergey. In order to understand how we can protect our business against mentioned email threat by Anna, it's helpful to logically group available technologies for this purpose. Like we do it with email threats, we can do it with technologies as well. For instance, on the slide, on the left side of the slide, you can see mass threats, and to protect against these threats, we can recommend using antivirus, anti-spam, and of course URL link scanning. Speaking about targeted threats, such as spear phishing, BC, and spoofing attacks, we recommend using BC protection, sandboxing technology, of course, cloud reputation. If something does slip through our protection, incident management becomes very, very important. There are also some technologies that don't belong to one side or another side, such as anti-phishing, content filtering, and probably DLP model as well, SPF in the mark, and we are going to talk about them today as well. But actually, why are we talking in details about all these technologies? Because in real life, we see that companies, they misunderstand what technologies are designed for, and they don't use it in a proper way, and that's when attacks actually succeed, leading to account compromise, data leaks, and even worse situation. That's why understanding the threats and matching them with the right technologies or tools, you can see them on the slide, is a key to build, I would say, comprehensive security strategy and fill security gaps in this area.
Very useful information. Thank you. I think it's great that we were able to demonstrate a sort of an overview of technologies that are applied both to mass threats and targeted threats at this point. But of course, we have much more to share with you all today. Now, with the high general overview behind us, let's go back to the mass threats, and let's perhaps start with malicious messages. I think everyone is facing them, both businesses and individual people like you and me, Anna, and Alexander too. If we pay close attention, we sometimes may notice them, but if we are tired and have other things to worry about, we might miss them, and that is where our expertise comes into play. I think it's great that we were able to share a high-level overview of technologies and technologies that are both applied to mass and targeted threats. But I think we should go back to mass threats and talk about them in bigger detail, since I know a lot of our viewers, both cybersecurity enthusiasts and professionals alike, would like to know more about how we perceive these threats and our expertise in this area. So let's now dive into mass threats. And let's start with scam. Anna, so for those of you who are perhaps not quite sure what scam is, although I think a lot of people already know and have unfortunately encountered scam, could you just talk about scam, share a brief definition, and perhaps maybe share a few examples?
So it's great that you started from scam messages, because it's a really interesting category of spam to start with, because scammers always invent new methods and tools how to send their messages in order to bypass different protection solutions. So scam messages are aimed at extorting money from recipients. And now I'm going to show you some examples of cases of spam messages that we encountered in our work. So one interesting campaign we noticed this year. So we have uncovered scam messages mimicking investment projects of a large energy company in Czech Republic. These messages were sent on behalf of HR manager and offered well-paid remote jobs. And these samples contained links to a scam page mimicking an official website of the electricity producer. So there, users were asked to provide their personal details, such as their first and last names, their emails, and phone numbers, in order to participate in an alert citizen support program. After users filled in their contact details, there was an inscription on the website which states that their request was accepted and they would be contacted via the phone by company's specialists. According to similar messages in other countries, most likely the next step of this scam scheme would be implemented during a phone conversation. So the fraudsters would try to extort money under the pretext of investments in promising projects. As I have already said, scam is extremely diverse in its ways, methods, tools to get money from victims. It is not necessary for scam messages to have links to scam resources. Fraudsters know how to extort money just due to email conversation. For example, they can do it through empty threats. The most popular blackmail topic is sextortion. Victims are accused in storage and distribution of prohibited materials with sexual content and informed that a criminal case has been charged against them. Such messages are often sent on behalf of Interpol or Europol, and therefore it enhances an intimidating effect. For denying the charges, recipients are usually offered to write to an email address, and after that, fake police officers will ask to pay fine in order to avoid criminal proceedings.
But I think one conclusion that we can take even at this point without even going further, that if you are pay close enough attention and know about all of these methods in advance and all of the social engineering schemes and psychological methods that are out there, you can already avoid most of these threats. So pay close attention. And of course, later on, we're going to talk more about specific solutions, but our attention of you and your employees is very, very important. Right, so scam, but there are more mass threats to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
Malicious messages. So let's talk about that. I'm sure we have a lot of examples to share from the last year. Let's share them with our viewers.
Yeah, totally agree with you. The best protection for our listeners is their accuracy. And talking about malicious messages, first of all, I would say the definition of this
Yes,
email threat. So
please do.
So malicious messages are messages with attachments containing malware or links to download malicious files. So let's talk about the newest tricks of fraudsters that they use in malicious messages. For example, a tendency that we noticed in the previous year was distributing password-protected archives containing malicious content via emails. Sometimes these files were included not as attachments, but via download links, which also required a password. This was the attacker's attempt to bypass security solutions, and typically the archive password was mentioned in the text of the message or sometimes in the file name. And fraudsters, that's an interesting actually point, fraudsters often disguised malicious archives or links as files with other extensions such as PDF, doc, Excels. And we also encountered one really complex attack. We were encountering this attack actually during the past year. And it was especially tricky because messages were presumably sent from compromised email accounts in the of the recipient's business partners. So some emails contained real correspondence to which attackers replied with an email containing the malware. And all of the emails that we inspected during this attack were unique. It means that the attackers likely crafted messages to closely mimic the style of the compromised business partner. And other messages containing password-protected archives were less tricky, but still complex for security solutions. They had more general themes, so the messages were disguised as invoices, commercial offers, supply orders, tender schedules, court notices, and other documents.
I think the big takeaway here is that even if you receive an email from a supposedly trusted source, like your business partner, as you mentioned, or someone that you maybe know personally who you're dealing business with, it's still a great idea. It's actually an essential to take a step back and examine this message carefully, because in today's world, when we receive typically tens or even hundreds messages per day and we rush to complete the next task, we can easily skip through all the little details and therefore fall victim to the attack. So, Anna, yes, I just wanted to mention this important note. Details is everything. But I'm sure you have more examples of malicious messages to share.
Yeah, sure. For example, according to our observations, the past year also saw a rise in the distribution of malicious SVG files. Disguised as harmless images, these files contain scripts that downloaded and installed additional malware to the victim's device. Sometimes users could find a password for opening the attached file in the message body, as we mentioned on the previous slide. And also, at the start of this current year, we observed phishing emails that resembled attacks with an HTML attachment, but instead utilized SVG files. In the browser, the file appeared as an HTML page with a link that, after several redirects, lead users to a corporate email login page, allowing attackers to capture their credentials. And in a separate instance, mimicking notifications from an e-signature service, attackers presented an SVG attachment as a document that required review and a signature. In this case, it contained JavaScript that, when the file was opened, launched a browser window with a phishing site featuring a fake Microsoft login form.
So, Anna, I think it's great that you mentioned phishing, because that's a category we can talk about in bigger detail. Phishing attacks themselves are very complex and also quite dangerous, both for companies and individual people. And I'm sure, just like with the other two types of attacks, we have a lot of useful examples we can learn from, and that you have for our viewers in store. Could you perhaps demonstrate them?
Yeah, I've mentioned phishing because sometimes fraudsters use the same tools and methods both in phishing and malicious messages. And topics, for example, sometimes are really common in phishing and malicious messages.
That makes total sense.
I would like to give you an overview of this email thread. So
for maybe for some people who are not familiar with phishing, maybe there are some new viewers who would like to learn more about cybersecurity in general. Let's start with the definition of phishing.
So the goal of phishing messages is stealing personal data. More commonly, frauds want to get credentials. As a rule, they send messages containing links to phishing forms, but in order to bypass the protection, they can also use different tricks. For instance, they can spread the threat via different types of attachments. An often case, for example, is a PDF attachment with a QR code in particular. So we will talk about these examples a little bit later. And now I will show you some intricate examples of phishing schemes which began with a sent fraudulent message. So in the spring of 2024, we discovered an interesting phishing email scheme that leveraged legitimate Facebook notifications. So the service sent entirely legitimate emails to users mentioned in threatening posts. That hackers used compromised Facebook accounts renamed to 24 hours left to request review CY. And changed the profile picture to an icon featuring an orange exclamation mark. Then the fraudsters created posts on these pages tagging the business accounts or potential victims. The tagged users received notifications from the alarmingly named pages, and these posts contained more details than the emails. Victims were warned about an impending account ban due to a complaint from another user. To dispute the ban for violating service terms, the recipient of the notification was required to follow a phishing link that was leading to a fake site with meta logos and requested Facebook credentials. And at the end of 2024, we noticed an email campaign targeting companies promoting their business pages on Facebook. So this email mimicked official Meta for Business notifications and threatened to block the user's account and business page for violating the platform's rules and community policies. To dispute these accusations, the fraudsters urged the profile owners to click a link to contact Facebook support in a legitimate messenger. But in reality, the victim was communicating with the owner of a fan page called content moderation center. And it was imitating an official support service employee. This scam could be identified by the inscription, the fan page in the chat, but it was really easy to miss this label.
Thank you so much, Anna. Once again, details is everything. And another important note just to remember is that, sense of urgency is the tool of cyber criminals, and they often make you act quicker, but you should always take a deep breath and actually examine the message you're receiving. Right, so I think we've briefly covered all of the mass threats, more or less. But as we stated in the beginning of the live stream, Alexander, our expertise is not only just our capabilities in terms of research. Technologies and technological approaches that help us combat these threats are equally as important, and they are part of our products. So scam, phishing, malicious messages, what do we have in terms of technologies and technological approaches to combat those threats?
Right, Sergey. In order to combat such threats, mentioned threats by Anna, we have plenty of technologies inside our solutions, and in order to discuss them, let's consider an email processing pipeline of our solution, just a high-level overview. Let's imagine that our email solution receives an email, and once we receive it, we start processing it. What we're doing, we are breaking it down into several parts, such as headers, body, URL links, attachments, and so on and so forth. And then these, I would say, attributes of the email or several attributes are then sent to different engines for further analysis, such as antivirus, anti-spam, anti-phishing, mail sender authentication, and so on and so forth. Then each engine provides its own verdict. If we consider these verdicts separately, the email might seem safe, but if we combine the verdicts from different engines, the rating, we can detect that and we can realize that the email actually looks malicious. And based on the verdict from different agents, our solution either can send it to a user if it's clean, or block it and send it to quarantine. There are, by the way, also two very important technologies we should, I think, discuss and tell more about it to our listeners. First one is our cloud reputation, Kaspersky Security Network, and network sandbox. Speaking about sandbox technology, so if our solution is integrated with our advanced sandboxing solution called KATA, which stands for
Kaspersky Anti-Targeted Attack.
That's correct, Sergey, thank you. Our email gateway can send suspicious emails and other attributes to sandbox. Then inside the sandbox, we emulate real user behavior in isolated environment and see if, let's say, a file or a link can trigger any malicious activity. Then Sandbox provides detailed report. Once one of them you can see on the slide, and provide the verdict to email gateway. Based on this verdict, email gateway can block it or send it to a user. And one thing I should mention related to sandbox technology. So if, for instance, someone from our among our customers or potential customers uses email security without sandbox technology, they would probably has lower detection rate than if they complement the solution with sandbox technology. So it's really crucial to have both solutions together: email security with signatures and sandbox technology in one place.
It's interesting to hear about the sort of multi-level, multi-dimensional, comprehensive approach into sort of breaking the emails bits by bits, analyzing all of these attributes. But what I'm thinking is that while it's all essential and must have for any solution, well, basically, a lot of vendors have similar approaches. But here at Kaspersky, we have an extra tool, so to speak, or an extra platform solution that determines and highlights us among other cybersecurity vendors. So Anna, Alexander, could you tell more about our extra technology under the hood?
Okay, Sergey, let me start.
Of course.
As I said, it's kind of extra layer of protection which complements other technologies we have in our mail security solutions. So I'm talking about our Kaspersky Security Network, KSN. It's our cloud threat intelligence database. And the main goal of Kaspersky Security Network is quick or fast reaction to new and emerging threats.
So Alexander, I think it's also would be great to mention that Kaspersky Security Network has access to all sorts of important data, such as web resources, different files, the reputation of all sorts of data, which in turn help the network to pack that data into actionable threat intelligence that is a part of our products.
That's right. So all this intelligence data, all this important information for our products, such as IP addresses, URLs, file hashes, and so on and so forth, are available to our products. So it's millions and millions of these reputation records. Important thing about Kaspersky Security Network is that all this threat intelligence data mentioned, threat intelligence data, is sometimes available earlier than update mechanism for our products, meaning that KSN actually reduces false positives level and in some cases even improves detection rate, which is crucial for email security where business continuity matters, right? So, Anna, could you also elaborate more on...
So before Anna takes over, I just want to briefly mention that we said that Kaspersky Security Network gathers data from millions of our users around the world. And such a big outreach is, of course, a huge advantage, but it's just important to know that the data is provided voluntarily. So in order for the data to be sent to us here at the headquarters, the user has to enable such option. Okay, back to you, Anna.
Okay, so I can tell you and to our listeners how we use the KSN in our work. So for effective and quick response to new email threats, we need to observe relevant spam mailings in the statistics KSN and do it in real time and quarantine suspicious messages. This helps to gain some extra time for our analysts who swiftly add detection methods to our bases. And thus update is available before the spam email could get into client's inbox. So as I started to talk about detection methods, they are divided into two categories. There are two main types of them. We use them to block messages manually. So signatures are faster. An analyst can quickly block phrases or links from spam messages. And this method helps to block bulk messaging at an early stage. But since the signatures are based on the text, they are not always as effective in a long term as longer methods, heuristics, that are based on a set of message features, including message headers, and created for proactive detection. So on this slide, you can see an example of visualization based on current int messages. We use it during our duties. Certain colors refer to messages sent from the same sender domains. Thus, from this chart, we can discover the count of messages from different senders during a time period. Another tool that works with the use of the KSN is large language model. So how it works? Phishing messages are categorized to the large language model. Then they are quarantined, and while the message is held in quarantine, we send URLs to a special service in which it is checked by our anti-phishing module. If the URL is a phishing site, the message itself also gets a phishing status. This is the example of the work of the large language model on a message sample. So we can see the text of the message, its category, key phrases, and the main key phrase. Another detection methods are IP reputation and domain reputation of a sender, which also work based on data from the KSN.
Thank you so much for a comprehensive overview of Kaspersky Security Network, both to you and Alexander. I think for our viewers and especially our customers, it would be very useful and vital to understand what this network actually does and how it comes into play in how it's being used in other products. I just want to take a quick moment to remind you that if you have any questions, maybe you want to ask us more about Kaspersky Security Network or mass threats or anything else, again, the comment section is open. Feel free to leave your question and we'll be happy to answer you as soon as possible. All right, so I think we've covered everything we wanted to in regards to mass threats, at least in the given time frame, which is very short. But in the beginning, we also wanted to talk about targeted threats. Judging by the name, as you may have guessed, targeted threats are much more dangerous, complex. They can be tailored specifically to a person or company, which might be harder to combat them and distinguish them. And just like with mass threats, we can categorize targeted threats into several subcategories. So first one being spoofing. Let's start with spoofing, if you don't mind. Since you are such a great at definitions, Anna, could you again share the definition of spoofing? Because not all of our viewers may know, and even myself, before I started working in cybersecurity, I wasn't aware about what spoofing actually is. So I'm sure you'd be great in describing and giving the definition to that type of threat. I
agree with you. Actually, targeted email threats require a special approach. Now I'm going to talk only about Active Directory spoofing.
Okay.
So this is one of the varieties of display name spoofing. The display name is the name of the sender that gets shown in the from header before the email address. So in corporate mails, for example, it's usually the real name of an individual or a department. So in the case of AD spoofing, the address from which cybercriminals send messages features the name of the person being imitated. The slide shows an example of such type of spoofing. So you can see that according to our legend, John Smith indeed works in good company on the position of HR director. A fraudster, under the guise of real employee of an imagined company, good company, sends his so-called colleague a disturbing report, which should be urgently taken into account. If we consider the message more carefully, we will see that the text formatting is close to the legitimate message as there is mentioned goodcompany.com and the sign looks like real. But the domain in the from field is phishingcompany.com, which absolutely has no connection to our organization. If a user doesn't notice this mismatch, he will get to the phishing website imitating login form of Microsoft. And AD spoofing is widely used in BC attacks. BC attacks, I mean business email compromise. As a rule, by this term, we mean messages that are personalized and targeted to specific individuals within organizations. So the goal of the attackers is to convince their victims to perform some actions. They could, for example, steal some data, so they will extort the data, or they will make the employee to perform some actions actually that are harmful for the company.
Yeah, I actually remember reading last year, and I even took note while preparing for the stream. Last year, Luxembourg carbon supplier company was tricked and basically lost $16 million. So what happened is basically a non-executive employee was tricked into making several wild transfers to cyber criminals. $60 million. Mm-hmm. That is a lot of money, and that is a typical case of a business email compromise.
Yeah. This is really dangerous email threat, targeted email threat. And in our case, there is a message on the slide which was allegedly sent by Eugene Valentinovich Kaspersky, but his address is suspicious as the domain belongs to a free hosting, as you can see. So I will add the definition of spoofing itself. Actually, it's a really broad term that is used when we are talking about behavior of cyber criminals who mimicking themselves as different trusted entities.
But we've covered only one type of spoofing, basically AD spoofing, but there are more types of spoofing, Alexander, so I know that you have more to add here. What other types of spoofing can companies encounter today?
Yes, Sergey, there are several types of, we can call it spoofing, where attackers, they try to change the actual real domain address and trick end user. And we have some technologies in our product to combat such tries from attackers to trick users. For instance, well-known SPF became the mark technologies, which are actually the only methods available to authenticate sender and reveal any spoofing attempts from attackers. For instance, in our product, we have dedicated blocks for each technology. For instance, speaking about SPF, we have all the available results or verdicts of SPF authentication, such as pass, fail, neutral, none, etc. On top of that, we have technology called domain sender authentication, which I would say helps to detect spoofing attempts, even if SPF and the KIM technologies are not enough. So why it's important, actually, talking about SPF, the KIM, the mark? Because in real life, we see that companies, especially large enterprise companies, they exchange emails with trusted partners, subsidiaries, and these companies, they don't follow best practices. For instance, remote admins, they sometimes can set up only SPF records on their mail gateway and nothing else. That's why we need a flexible tool to protect companies against spoofing attempts, such as we have in our mail gateway. But speaking about authentication, sometimes even these technologies, these methods are not enough when things comes to vulnerabilities, right?
Yeah, so not enough. That's very interesting. Could you tell more? Because based on what you just described, that feels like a comprehensive set of solutions. I'm sure our viewers are intrigued. So can you share some cases so when it is not enough? And since this question implies that there are some risks, could you also cover how we close those risks in cases where the technologies alone are not enough?
So yeah, there are some cases when mail sender authentication is not helpful. And actually it's a problem because many vendors on the market rely almost only on mail sender authentication. For example, such a case is a vulnerability of exchange, which essence lies in an incorrectly formulated P2 from header processing policy. I suggest to consider the vulnerability in more detail. The message sample, which you can see on the slide, looks absolutely legitimate. At first glance, we can see no suspicious signs, both in the message itself and in the message headers. So this trick was implemented due to the CVE, which consists in an arrow of several mail addresses processed by server. When a message is being received, a verification of MCA is applied not to the entire mail address, but only to its right part. And a user gets a message with domain from the left part. Thus, any message which has been sent in such way will be valid. So the PIM and mark are easily bypassed due to this vulnerability.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So that leaves me quite confused and puzzled. How we counter the threats you just mentioned? What solutions can we offer to actually close the risks?
For this particular vulnerability, we created a heuristic that block attacks that are exploiting this CV. But we try to quickly respond to any new appearing vulnerabilities and protect our customers against them.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, Anna, I think we've covered, and Alexander, I think together we've covered pretty much all of the threats. But there's still one left, and it's rather important, QR codes and all of the threats that are coming from QR codes. Of course, QR itself is not a threat. It's rather an instrument that malicious actors use to target their victims. Personally, I encounter QR codes on the street, on different internet pages, basically both in real and digital life. And while I was lucky enough to encounter QR codes containing valid links, there are, of course, tons of examples happening every day that with QR code being used incorrectly, being used by cyber criminals, leading to places that you shouldn't really visit. Of course, that also applies to the corporate world. I'm sure that QR codes are being used in emails. Am I right, Hannah?
Yeah, you're right. And even our presentation contains QR codes.
But they are not dangerous, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's a relief.
Yeah, they are legitimate. But actually, fraudsters use QR codes as a tool to spread their threat. Mass use of QR codes in mailings we noticed in 2021, and the peak of this fraudulent method occurred in 2023. Actually, a pretext of such messages is quite simple and has almost no difference with traditional phishing messages. So a user is asked to scan a QR code in order to perform an action, for example, to change the password or to renew a subscription. So as you can see from this message sample on the slide, phishing QR code is in an image file format. And it's the most common way to distribute this type of email threat. But spreading phishing QR codes with PDF attachments also exists actually, and it was firstly noticed in 2023, and the way gained popularity among fraudsters in 2024. So. In this case, the scheme is the same with the attacks by phishing QR codes in an image file format, but PDF is used as container to make the QR code more inaccessible and challenging for protection solutions.
Interesting. Alexander, I'm sure that QR codes are themselves can be classified and narrowed down into separate subcategories, and there are differences between different categories. So can you tell us more about that?
Right. Just to say a few words about QR codes that Anna mentioned as well. Actually, attackers, they use QR codes or emails in QR codes to bypass traditional security or URL filters, traditional URL filters in email security solutions, and hoping that actually users, they will open these QR codes with mobile phone and land on phishing website. The good news is that all our email security product support QR code scanning. And how it works, actually, we just scan text, data, or URLs behind QR codes and reveal any phishing behind them. And also, Anna mentioned good example that since 2023, fraudsters, they sent emails with embedded PDF files with included QR codes, and we support PDF files with QR codes as well as images as attachment and QR codes embedded in HTML codes. But we do not support. I would say not only support black and white QR codes in emails. We also support blurry QR codes, angled or rotated QR codes with logos, and we also support several scanning QR codes in several images in GIF files, which attackers usually try to hide these codes from users. And important thing here is that it is kind of robust and smart protection included in all our products that detects and I would say reveals and block any attempts to trick users before even they try to scan QR codes in emails.
Thank you, Alexander. That's very. I'd say those are very important details for general understanding. Now, Anna, Alexander, we talked a lot about our expertise and started talking about technologies. I think now it's time for us to actually talk about specific solutions that you, our viewers, decision makers, business owners can use to mitigate all of these threats, to secure your corporate mailboxes. And of course, the number one solution that we have here at Kaspersky is Kaspersky Security for Mail Server. First point is that it incorporates all of our knowledge, expertise, and all of the technologies we talked about during this stream. It protects against all of the threats, both math threats and targeted threats that we talked about with you guys. And another important point is that it provides protection on both mailbox and gateway levels. Now, the product itself, Kaspersky Security for Mail Server, consists of 3 applications. Kaspersky Secure Mail Gateway, Kaspersky Security for Exchange Servers. I think the title is quite self-explanatory, but we of course are going to discuss its capabilities in detail. And Kaspersky Security for Microsoft Office 365, which provides protection for 365 services, including OneDrive, SharePoint, and even Teams. Alexander, you're basically the product manager for Kaspersky Security for Mail Server. Let's talk about the capabilities it provides to its users and what this product actually does.
Actually, this product provides, I would say, from what you said, that this product provides full flexibility in terms of deployment. For instance, Kaspersky Secure Mail Gateway, it's on-prem. It's used for on-prem mail protection. Microsoft Security for Office 365 is for cloud protection. It depends if the
use case scenario.
Use case scenarios, deployment environment the customer has. For instance, if the customer has everything on-prem or in the cloud, or probably they use hybrid environment using this product, which, by the way, is licensed by a number of mailboxes, they can use one application out of these 3 or several, depending on.
Yes, so I think it's important to mention here that all of these 3 applications are available under a single license.
Right.
So this is, of course, provides flexibility. So by having this license, the customer can choose any scenario that it needs specifically for his or her company.
That's correct.
Okay, so going back to the product capabilities, what else can we share with our viewers?
I think it's worth showing the interface itself, because we spoke a lot about examples of threats, technologies, the product itself. Now I think it's time to show how it actually looks like. And here on the slide, you can see several screenshots from our Kaspersky Secure Mail Gateway, which actually allows you to do anything you need to see what's going on with emails, system health, email statistics, threats, etc., and so on and so forth. You can create protection rules for your email traffic. You can see what's going on or what happened with particular emails in your network, in your environment. And by the way, if you are migrating from another solution to our solution, we have, no worries, actually.
We've got you covered.
Yes, we have several tools to make it simple and smooth, this kind of migration.
What is actually stuck in my head is that with all the advanced technologies and this, of course, impressive product capabilities, it feels like there's still one gap, and that being social engineering and different psychological methods of attacks that are being applied by cyber criminals. So my point here is that, basically, no matter how advanced your technologies are, they may still not work or not always work when it comes to social engineering. But here at Kaspersky, we also thought about that. Isn't that right, Alexander?
That's correct, Sergey. And the most important thing about Kaspersky, if we speak about email security, is our expertise. We have large R&D department, right? We have developers who build these products, these tools, such as secure email gateways, sandbox technology, and many more. Also, we have researchers like Anna spam analysts, content filtering experts, and antivirus experts, threat intelligence researchers, who has large knowledge, large base of knowledge, which we are ready to share with our customers by building so-called Kaspersky Automated Security Awareness Platform. So, and having everything from one provider, tools, knowledge, and expertise, provide you necessary, I would say, data and necessary resources to build comprehensive security strategy and fill security gaps in email security area.
And of course, we should also mention that Kaspersky Automated Security Awareness Platform combines all of our knowledge and expertise, like you said, and packs it into training programs, online courses, and basically allows to train your employees so they don't fall victims to different schemes. And with automated awareness platform on one hand and our product on the other hand, you have a comprehensive email protection solution that will serve as a reliable protection base for all of the scenarios that malicious actors throw at you.
That's correct.
Well, then, I think that our time is coming to an end. Thank you so much for sticking with us. If you still have any questions left, be sure to leave them in the comment section. If you want to know more about our research, you should see a QR code on the screen leading to the Spam and Phishing 2024 report. Another QR code leads to the web product page of Kaspersky Security for Mail server. And in the comment section, we also include a series of links that contain information on research from the team Anna is working in. This is some very useful and exciting materials, especially for if you're new to cybersecurity and want to dig further into the email threats and what tools experts use to find them. So once again, thank you so much to all of our viewers for sticking with us till the end. Thank you so much to Alexander and Anna for being with me in the studio today. Thank you so much for all the valuable insights and describing how our solutions work. That is it. And until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.